So, Chris, for this next part, I wanted to prod you a little bit on what you've been working on and your just findings along the way, whether it's just random stuff like, yeah, this didn't work or this is frustrating. I know you've been building apps and stuff recently, so if you could tell us a little about your main findings and how that's been going, or what you think about that space in general.
Yeah, I mean, it may not be interesting enough to keep, but I'll just kind of fill you in. One of the things that I've been kind of excited about, there's a lot of people on X talking about consumer apps and how like AI powered consumer apps are kind of a really good opportunity right now, especially using TikTok as an organic traffic tool. So, like basically the idea is like you can build an app using using AI coding tools. The app can have some AI feature that previously was not possible before LLMs, and and then basically you market it on TikTok. And there's this whole like step by step process for warming up a TikTok account, um, getting like the TikTok algorithm to like recommend, like figure out what kind of content your warmed up account likes to watch,
Hmm.
and then that way it knows what kind of who to push your content to when you do post. So like if I'm trying to sell to like moms that love crocheting and I have a product, like maybe I have an app that like teaches moms how to crochet with AI or something. Um, I would like warm up a TikTok account by only watching that kind of content, liking those types of things, engaging with those types of videos. And then after, 48 hours or something, I can start posting content about my TikTok or sorry, about my AI crocheting app. And TikTok will push that content to moms that like crocheting. And you can basically try to like iterate and see which pieces of content get the most views, and then you can slowly try to find something that goes viral. And there are people that have used this to scale their businesses to, I mean, crazy numbers. So I'll give you one example. I'm sure you've heard of it, Alex, but Cal AI is the number one app store, um, fitness, health and fitness app right now in the app store. And it's actually was founded by like a 17-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 23-year-old. And they literally built this app super quick. By the way, it just turned 1 year old like a month ago or something. So it's been around for like 11 or like 12 or 13 months. And it's on a $20 million run rate. So they've sold basically they've gotten 20 million. They've hit the $20 million revenue mark in basically a year, and a 17-year-old is the CEO of it. He's not even out of high school yet.
This is
Okay,
Blake, right?
Blake's not the 17-year-old. He's the 23-year-old, or he's
Okay.
24 now, I think.
Okay.
But Zach Yadagari is the CEO. So anyway, that's looks like the sort of like shining example of these AI powered consumer apps that are just crushing
Yeah.
it. Um, and there are tons of others. You can use tools like Sensor Tower to see how much apps are making. Liftoff is one that's like a really popular fitness app right now. It's like at 100K a month in revenue, and it's not even AI powered. It's literally just an app that like when you do a lift, it like shows you your ranking among like other people in your age and weight bracket, and it gives you like it's like kind of just gamifies like lifting. But yeah, that's a brand new one, like 3 or 4 months old, already doing 100K a month. There's tons of examples like this. So consumer apps apparently are really popular right now. And so what I've been doing is just trying to build one. Um, I have like a ton of ideas. So fitness apps are, I mean, it's one of the biggest categories on the App Store as far as like money makers. So um, I think it's like fitness apps and games. I think like those are the two really big ones. I could be wrong on that, but I have like a ton of ideas for fitness apps. So I'm kind of my goal is to like build a generic base base layer for like what the fitness app will be like. Just like a generic like workout generation tracking, things like that, and then like with different kind of themes so that I can like figure out who to market it to. Like I'll give you an example. One of them, I might just call it like dump truck, and it because like girls nowadays like go to the gym and they only do the glute thruster because
Yeah.
everybody's
And
trying to like
squats.
get a big butt. So like the point is like you can like my goal is I'm just gonna try to like build this foundation and then try to like layer on like different wrappers, different themes, different UI for each of these like different ideas I have. Um, And so I'll see how that goes, and then I'm going to try to market them on TikTok. Interestingly, I'm seeing a lot of people also get have success with just like web apps, like generic web apps, just like sort of the classic indie hacking type of thing, where they just
Yeah.
build, like this one guy who's kind of an up and coming solopreneur indie hacker guy. He he's doing 20K a month with this tool that just like helps you post to like several different social media accounts at once.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
I think
cool.
his name is Jack Fricks on X,
Okay.
and yeah, like that's a pretty generic one. I know he started in the consumer app space and then like built this tool to help him market his consumer apps, but ultimately like the tool he built is actually super valuable to other indie hackers, and now he's making money from that. So it's like the sort of
The
you know
classic sell to your
yeah, snake eating its tail kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't love that idea. Like it kind of makes me, it just feels weird, that kind of
It
thing.
is funny because
Yeah.
there's just so many people find success like selling to their followers of trying to build one thing, but like, yeah, I know it's just funny.
Yeah. And another thing is like who knows how sticky this revenue for Cal AI or a lot of these other consumer apps are. That revenue may be gone in 2 years. Like they may have just like made some money and now they're like, they just have money now. They don't have a business anymore.
Who
So
knows?
that's
Yeah.
totally possible as well. Um, and then another thing I'll throw out there is I lost my train of thought, Al. You may have to cut this.
No,
Oh
that's
shoot, I
fine.
remember. I remember. Can you cut? You got to cut this little part out.
Maybe.
All right, whatever. There's this guy David Park who famously built Jenny AI, which is just like an AI writing tool that I'm pretty sure he just was one of the lucky people that got access to like the early ChatGPT API. And so they tried to build like a GPT wrapper essentially. It's just like a writing
Yeah.
tool that uses AI under the hood. Well, suggestions and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Jenny AI right now is at like 790K a month. So, but it's like I mean, they're like a company. I don't know how big their team is. I think it's probably under 15,
Wow.
but it's still like crazy, right? That's what $10 million run rate. So $10 million ARR. Those guys are crushing it. But dude, you know what their main growth channel was? And David Park literally has a tweet thread about this. He basically said they were banging their head against the wall for months and months and months, and then they went viral on TikTok,
Yeah.
and they like got to 20K a month, and then they were at a million ARR, and then 3 million ARR, and then David Park has this whole tweet thread about, or this, he like posted about how they thought like in order to be like a real company, he thought he had to like diversify his marketing strategies, so they put a ton of effort into exploring other marketing channels, you know, Facebook, Google, SEO, all of these different things. And all the while, they continued to try to they continued to post on TikTok, but TikTok just completely crushed every other marketing channel that they had. And he was like, if we just put more effort into TikTok and like buying TikTok ads, we'd probably be even further than where we are now. So in other words, like TikTok is a great marketing channel right now. Things go viral. I imagine the same is true for YouTube Shorts, and I know other consumer app specialists are also finding a lot of success on Instagram Reels. So long story
Yeah.
short, if you're selling to consumers, short form content is an absolute gold mine right now, apparently, because stuff goes viral and your CAC is
Yeah.
zero. If your thing
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
viral,
It's
you're
freaking
you're
awesome.
just printing money.
I love
So
content. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
so
I think like one of the coolest skills you can have is being a ninja of going viral on a given channel. Like, if you're like, I can make you go viral on this channel, that skill to me is worth like just millions. You know what I mean? Because like, imagine how like important going viral on TikTok was and like crushing with TikTok for David Park's business. That's everything. Like that is his savior. Like that is what like got him to where he is. Like literally the skill of being able to go viral on but sure, yeah, like people obviously had to find value in the thing that was going viral, but like just yeah. So yeah, that's
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the other thing is like you've got to have respect for both sides of the coin. So I'll give you an example. Um, like I want to learn the skill of like B2B sales. Like I would love to be able to sell a high ticket item and
Mhm.
just like build a business around that because that stuff is hard, man. It's a
Yeah.
drag. Selling to businesses is not easy. Maybe it's just like SMBs because I know like famously SMBs are really hard to sell to. Maybe enterprise is much easier. I have no idea. But I will say this. I hear about companies like Headway. Like you know that book summary app? It's basically
Yeah,
like just book summaries.
I think so.
So you can like read a book faster, get the idea from like a self-help book in a
Yeah.
paragraph rather than reading the thing. They do like they're at 300 million ARR just for a book summary app built like by some like relatively small Ukrainian dev shop. They're
Yeah.
not like gigantic. I mean, they're not tiny, but I'm pretty sure it's like a 50 to 100 person team. Now, Headway's been going at it for like 5 years now, but and they also market like crazy. Like you probably heard about Headway in YouTube, like YouTubers market, like doing their whatever ad read, podcasts. Basically, Headway just like absolutely they went hard into influencers and they crushed. I mean, they're still crushing. Like
Which
you
is
know,
organic content. Yeah. It's just
yeah. Well, that's not organic content. They're buying ads with influencers.
okay. Yeah. But
But the point is that like
buying organic content. Yeah.
they've mastered a super simple consumer product and they're just printing money.
Hmm.
But then you have to look at on the other side of the coin. 5 years ago, a company called Wiz, we talked about this a while ago. Um, but Wiz was founded in 2020, and it's a basically a cybersecurity agent. Well, technically, it's not. Technically, it's agentless. It's not even like I don't even think it's like AI branded, but it's basically just a cybersecurity tool for companies that use cloud services like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. So, what is so like special about Wiz? Well, they only sold the Fortune 500, and fast forward 5 years, they're doing $750 million ARR in 5 years, selling to Fortune 500 only, and Google just agreed to acquire them for $32 billion. That's like that hurts my
Yeah.
brain, right?
It was
And
23 billion like a couple months ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was 23 billion probably like 6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the Department of FTC, yeah, whatever, Federal Trade Commission, I think, like shut it down. They didn't want the deal to go through. Obviously, administrative change, Trump's in, and then of course now Google's moving forward with the acquisition, and it's at a premium, right? Not up
Yeah.
almost $9 billion. So long story short, like B2B enterprise, like there's a
Yeah.
reason the multiple is crazy for Wiz. It's because selling into to enterprises, I mean, it's extremely valuable. That revenue is so sticky. Like those customers aren't going anywhere for years. It's all
Yeah.
contract based. Like they're probably locked in for several years with each of these contracts. So
Yeah.
it's also a skill to be able to do that too. And like the founding team of Wiz is absolutely like they're all killers. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to like break it down. Like we
Yeah.
did a pretty good breakdown video, which maybe we can link in the description. We went through their whole strategy, their growth strategy, their sales strategy, their product development strategy,
Mm.
and I mean, it was just perfectly executed. So that's also a skill too, which I mean, it would be awesome to wave my wand and have that skill as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but
But
anyway,
yeah.
yeah, learning to go viral on these platforms is also going to help you crush it in the consumer world.
Yeah. I mean, so kind of going back to some of the guys building apps and stuff, Cal AI, how did they scale that? Was that so it wasn't it micro influencers or something like that? They would reach out to TikTok, or did they build their own pages?
I think they did both. I believe they started with their own and then they immediately went into like micro influencers. Um, I know they went heavy into micro influeers. So
Gotcha.
I believe they started with their own organic content and then slowly just
Yeah.
had as many influencers as they could basically create the same content.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, distribution is just so important. Like, you cannot overlook it, especially if you want to scale big. Like, you got to be good at it and go big with that, with the distribution. So, I guess on your experience, Chris, like, you've been building these apps. I guess, do you plan to start marketing it on TikTok, or how do you plan to do that?
Yeah, no, it's going to be TikTok. I have like a tweet saved on how to do it.
Cool. So, you're just going to run that formula.
Yeah.
You're going to build your own pages or any influencer affiliate stuff, or
Well, I want to see if I can like kind of go viral on my own, or
yeah.
just like get if I can have a tweet,
Yeah.
TikTok that gets a few thousand views and I get one or two signups, I'll be like, okay, cool. I know this format works. Now I just need 100 other people to do that same thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I just need to see if I can actually get, the sign up.
Right. And then as far as building, I just want to touch on that too a little bit. Like, how's your experience been building the apps? Like, what have you found? How did you build it? How do you think people are building? Any hiccups or thoughts in that space?
I mean, I could definitely talk for a while about AI coding tools. I use Cursor. I've tinkered with a lot of the other ones. Cursor is not like amazing. It's not like that much better, but it's like it's solid. There's you do like for me, I find that like you kind of have to know how to code in order to use it properly, or at least move quickly. Um, I've tinkered with Replit. I've tinkered with Lovable. A lot of these other tools. Cursor's the best in my opinion. Um, but I think it's interesting. Like, there's a
So
lot of like. Go ahead.
go ahead. All right, sorry, I'll come back to it. I didn't want to cut off your train real quick, but yeah,
What?
I can come
Oh,
back to my question.
okay.
What were you gonna
Yeah,
say?
no. Yeah, I was just gonna say that there's a lot of abstraction layers that exist out there now. Meaning, like, whereas in the past you may have had to create an AWS account to have like a database and servers and whatnot. Nowadays, there's tons of tools that abstract all of that away for you. Um, Like for instance, I use Supabase. That's a pretty good one. Although I don't love that it's a SQL database. I'm gonna probably, I think at some point I'll switch to like MongoDB or one of these other NoSQL databases. Um, but either way, Supabase is solid. And what I right now I need to figure out is like I need to figure out how to use MCPs a little bit more and kind of leverage my Cursor because Cursor has MCP tooling built into it, so you can like have your AI use MCPs to do stuff. Which MCP, if you don't know what it is, it's basically it allows one AI agent to talk to some other platform. And if I'm in Cursor and I want a quick like design built for a screen in Figma, Figma has an MCP where you can actually like tell Cursor agent like, hey, build me a screen that like has this information, build me a mockup for it in Figma, and it'll use the Figma MCP, build it in Figma, and then you can go look, and then you can maybe tweak some stuff in Figma, and then you can just go into Cursor and say, all right, now use that design to build this screen here, right? And then you can use Cursor to build it. I have not been leveraging MCPs as much as I ought to, but one of the funny things that I'm finding about coding with AI is that I am not able to get into flow state with it. Like I have it's
Yeah,
weird, but
coding's hard.
over the last like 3 years, I've had like almost no issues with like locking in at work. But when it comes to coding with AI, I've actually struggled so much. Why? Because like you prompt it and then like 30 seconds later it's done doing what you wanted to, but like in that 30 seconds I've like already switched tabs like to X, I'm doing something else. It's kind of hard to stay locked in. Um, and you also don't really understand your code base as well because you're not writing the code, right? A code base is almost like a reflection of your brain. Like it's like a like a like you're imprinting your brain into the product, right? Like everything you write, like you're like indexing it in your mind as you write it when you're building, like when you're writing code. So coding with AI is oddly less like enjoyable, that like if that makes sense, but there's less effort too, which is nice.
Yeah,
um I think the world we're living in now is like one where everybody is getting more leverage and more. I think the game is like who can be the person that is like the best at playing the strategy game, the high level strategy game, right? It's going to be less about like, oh, can I get locked in and just like worm my way through
yeah.
this problem? No, it's like I'm like allocating resources and allocating like agents to do this and build that and like okay,
Hmm.
I'm allocating budget towards ad spend or content creation. Over time, we're going to get to a point where pretty much everybody's going to have the same amount of leverage and everybody's going to be able to kind of build stuff really, really quickly, at least in the digital world. So,
And it's almost like picking the right recipe of which leverage to use is like really the skill.
totally. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
all a strategy game where like each decision you make has a much bigger impact than it once did.
Mm,
But also there's less risk because you can very quickly correct course too.
yeah.
So it's
Um,
it's
and I guess my question earlier to loop back was like for the lay people like me, like to you, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm using Cursor and like this and that. But like, what is Cursor? How are you coding an app with this tool? Is it like, so it's essentially an AI coding tool, maybe, or I don't know, you tell me, but so you give it prompts and it builds this thing for you from the front end to the back end, or
Yeah, so okay, that's a good question. What is Cursor? Cursor is essentially just a AI powered coding environment. Basically,
okay.
like if you open Google Docs, right? Like let's say you're going to write something. Maybe I'm going to write some software, but let's just say for the example, you're going to write a letter to someone. You're going to open Google Docs, call that your writing environment, and on the sidebar, maybe there's a little AI agent. This is actually Gemini, is what this is. But you tell the AI agent, oh, I want to write a letter to my sister. I want it to have 3 paragraphs, and I want it to talk about these three things.
Mhm.
AI agent will go put that, write it directly in your document. The same thing is true with Cursor. Cursor is basically like, I want this thing. I want an app that does this. I want it to have this button here, and I want it to have this functionality. You type that into the sidebar on the right, and then it will write the code in your actual like your code editor, right? The
Yeah.
file for holding that code. Here's where like I think a lot of lay people might get over their ski tips. Um, you still have to know how to work in a coding environment. Like the same way you need to
Yeah.
understand how Microsoft Word actually works, like how to bold things, how to add a page break, how to add columns
Yeah.
and a title and modify the header and the footer. You still need
Hmm.
to know how to do certain things in a coding environment like Cursor, which is actually built. Cursor, by the way, this is funny. Cursor is just a fork of VS Code, which is a really, really popular coding environment that Microsoft open sourced. So
Mm.
Cursor basically said, oh, I'm going to take that. The Cursor team was like, okay, we're going to take that open source code. We're just going to modify it to have our little AI chat bar and put that on the
Yeah.
right side of the screen so people can like chat with an AI while they're building. So Cursor team just used this open source product that Microsoft built and put their AI agent in it. Which turned out to be a great idea because so many developers are already so comfortable with VS Code. But you still need to know how to do things like build your project locally so you can test it out and run it. I want to run my website locally so I can quickly test it before I have to buy a domain and upload all of my source material to some server so it can be hosted. Like all that stuff is too complicated. Um, like you still need to know how to do that stuff. AI can guide you through it, but you still need to generally know how it works in order to really be effective with it right now. So if you were to go start using Cursor today, you could get really, really far, but there's probably the last like 5 to 10% that you'd struggle with. Um,
Hmm.
you'll just do some searching around. I think it's really easy today to just get it done and like get an
Yeah.
app live, but it still does take a little bit of effort. Like you got to know
Yeah.
where to go, how to do stuff.